Hello, everyone. We are so happy to have all of you here today to support Fair Futures for young people in foster care and those who recently exited care. Shout out to all the young people and organizations that are online and here today. We want to make sure that we are heard loud and clear and the world knows why it is more important than ever that Mayor Adams baselines funding for Fair Futures in the New York City budget to provide the full model for all young people ages 11 to 26 who are in or have left foster care. We are so grateful for his support over the last few years, and we are proud to work with him to solidify and baseline funding for Fair Futures in the city budget. Please keep sharing your support on social media during and after the rally and tag hashtag Fair Futures. Every single post counts. My name is Cheyenne Dioprasad, and I will be your moderator today. It is so nice to see all of you once again. We are here today because we want to ensure that New York City fulfills its promise to young people in care and baselines full funding for Fair Future to ensure that no young person will lose their Fair Futures coach, tutor, or specialist. This includes New York's youngest youth who exited care up to age 26. Many young people rely on their parents or family for some form of support in their early 20s, whether it be staying on their health insurance, temporarily living at their house, or even leaning on them for emotional advice. Young people who exit care are often entirely on their own without Fair Future support. I understand the impact that Fair Futures have had firsthand. Having support of a young adult sticking behind you and connecting with you and connecting you to resources is all you need to change lives. I had a Fair Futures coach ever since I was 15 years old when I came into foster care, and she has helped me tremendously. I believe that she was one of the most inspiring women that I have ever met. This is a critical moment for young people in care, and they have never needed their coaches and tutors more. We cannot let them down. And now I am pleased to introduce Damien Kelly, President and CEO of Lutheran Social Services of New York.
Thank you so much, Cheyenne. Good afternoon, everybody. As Cheyenne said, my name is Damien Kelly, and I serve as the President and CEO of Lutheran Social Services of New York. And it is such an honor and a pleasure to join with so many of you, providers, advocates, and young people, as we share what we know to be true. Fair Futures works. I also want to thank those elected and appointed officials who have joined us in support and in recognition of the importance of fully funding a program like Fair Futures. We have all faced so many challenges over the past couple of years, but nothing can compare to the challenges faced by those young people in foster care and or who have recently exited out of care. We know that 20% of youth in care who age out will become homeless, especially as they try to navigate New York's complicated housing market. And for those of us who are older, we all remember getting our own first apartment and how difficult that was. And many of us had support. So imagine the challenges of a young person trying to get an apartment who doesn't have any support. We have also seen young people struggle with everything from being able to function with remote learning to mental health challenges related to isolation and the fear of the unknown. However, we are thankful to have a mayor, current Mayor Eric Adams, who understands the importance of programs that benefit young people. And one of those programs is Fair Futures, which the mayor highlighted at his press conference yesterday. We are thankful for his acknowledgement and recognition of the Fair Futures model. We know that a program like Fair Futures, which provides one-to-one life coaching and academic support, increases high school completion rates. And I really want to touch base a little bit on the idea of the coach. Many of us who are professionals and have experience have coaches. Why should young people have something less? They need coaches, they need the support. We know that Fair Futures is a leading model for helping to successfully support and prepare foster youth transition to adulthood. We know that a program like Fair Futures, with $35 million in funding, in baseline funding, can support not only life coaches and academic support, but also support housing specialists who can help assist youth aging out of care navigate New York's complicated housing market. We, as advocates, providers, and young people, call on the City of New York to support youth up to the age of 26 who have aged out of care by baselining $35 million in the fiscal year 2023 budget to ensure that youth both in care and those aging out of care have the support they need to transition to adulthood. If not now, when? Our youth deserve it, our city deserves it, and the young people who depend on us deserve it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damon. First up, we would like to introduce Councilmember Sean Abreu from Manhattan. We are so excited to have him.
Thank you so much, Cheyenne. Do I have the floor?
Yes, you do.
Well, listen, New York City must baseline $35 million to serve all young people 11 through 26 who are in or have left foster care. This would ensure that Fair Futures participants have access to a housing specialist to help them navigate the city's complex housing programs, find safe, stable housing to dramatically reduce the number of young people who have become homeless after leaving foster care. It is difficult for our young people who leave foster care. Young people on their own without support when they age out. 20% of our youth who leave foster care at 21 are homeless by age 24. That is a staggering figure. 3,000 young people between the ages of 21 and 26 have aged out of foster care. And this is why we need to fully fund Fair Futures to ensure that we're covering support for folks who have aged out within the ages of 21 to 26, but also everyone from the 11 to the age of 26 as well. Fair Futures provides one-on-one coaching, tutoring, and other support. It's backed by a coalition of over 100 nonprofits. 98% of the clients are people of color, meaning that our communities in need are the ones that are getting this service the most, and they should be prioritized. Folks in District 7 and folks throughout our city would also be prioritized. Full funding from the city will help Fair Futures cover the folks who need help the most and will have a transformative, massive impact. 21% of our youth who have aged out of foster care have a high school degree, but 94% of Fair Future clients had high school diplomas. It's not even a question of the impact that you're having on our students and those who have aged out of foster care and those in foster care. Fair Futures, you have my full support to lobby on this issue, to advocate on this issue. It was very encouraging to see the mayor make a reference of the Fair Futures investment just a few days ago, if not yesterday. And I'm very optimistic that there's a lot we can accomplish here. And I just want you to know you can count on my full support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Council Member. That means a lot to us. Next up, we will have Council Member Osei.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Osei. I am the council member for the 36th Councilmanic District, which includes the neighborhoods of Bed-Stuy and North Crown Heights. Thank you so much for inviting me today. I would like to thank Grand Wyndham and Fair Futures for all of the work that you do. And I know that your work is ensuring that youth who have left the foster care system continue to have support and to excel and thrive. We are at a critical point in our city where we are realizing where we should realize that we need to ensure that all of our citizens have the tools and support they need to meet the rigorous demands of New York City's limited housing, grinding job searches, and high costs of living, especially for our youth. In full transparency, before this job, as a council member, I haven't heard about the Fair Futures program, but I love what I'm hearing and I want to hear and learn more. So that's why I'm here. Thank you again for having me as the youngest council member in the new council. It is my duty to advocate for young folks to make sure that people like myself and from my demographic are receiving the resources that they so truly deserve to thrive in our city. So I'm a huge fan of, obviously the research that I've done before hopping onto this Zoom call, and I'm so excited to learn more about all of the great work that you do so that we could uplift people from my generation and for future generations. Thank you guys again.
Thank you so much, Council Member. That means a lot. Next up, we will have Council Member Gail Brewer.
Hi, thank you very much, Fair Futures. And what I think is great about today is I remember the first rally outside of City Hall when it was just, I don't know, there were a few of us and weren't many of us, a lot of young people, a lot of organizations, and a good agenda for the future. And look what you have done. It's phenomenal. And I have to say, when I heard Mayor Adams yesterday mention Fair Futures as part of the future, I was like, you did it. I hope that means you're going to get $35 million. We'll certainly help to baseline it. So it's one thing to have $35 million. It's another thing to have $35 million baseline, which means it's going to go on and on and on. And so baseline is the word. And congratulations, because I do think that recognition yesterday is like 90% of the way, having been around for a long time. I know when I hear something like that, it's a good positive word for the future. So, I've had a lot of foster care kids, and I've had many of them in their teens, and many of them, there's no way that somebody can survive in this very complicated city if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have somebody backing you up to 26 at least. I know that's where we are now, but you may have to, even as time goes on, help beyond that. I will say that, just not just housing, but figuring out college, figuring out future, figuring out when you get shoved around in a job, figuring out who is the way, how to handle the boss, how to handle, complicated. I just dealt with one of my kids' complicated girlfriend situation. I never liked that girl, but I was supposed to be nice to her. And then luckily she turned out to be a schmuck. So I was so happy. But, dealing with the complications of all of that, it was, he had to figure out for himself, but I was there to support him. And guess what? I also knew psychologists whom he could talk to, who were friends. I could think of other support mechanisms. It was a very complicated situation. I don't think he could have done it. He could have done it on his own, but it would have been a mess. So I can give you pages and pages of all the challenges and why a mentor is helpful. So I'm 100% with you. And I think Sean listed some of the numbers, but the issue is we need to keep every single person out of the shelter system. A shelter system, if you're at True Colors, that's one thing. Or if you're at someplace that's, Alley Farm or someplace that focuses on young people, but the shelters do not, the general shelters. And so I'm working hard also for those coming from upstate, from the prisons, not to go to the shelter. They should go to Exodus House, or they should go to Fortune Society, or they should go to some place that's supportive. And that's the same thing with young people aging out of foster care. They should not ever, ever, ever go to the shelter system. And you know what? It's not impossible to make sure that happens, and then it's done if they are supported by you. I have a request by you. I love Graham Wyndham and all the groups that are part of this coalition. I remember when we were on the steps for the first time, many of them were there and you were there. And this is a phenomenal, just a few years later. I don't know that anybody else has pulled this out so quickly in terms of a nonprofit getting started and then being so successful so quickly. I have a request. At the DOE, Department of Education, I happen to know because I've been through this many, many times. There is an independent student division, and I think you need to, maybe you're already in touch with them, but they could use some help. They really do work with very small number of staff people, with students who are independent, who do not have any family. Now, these students are obviously not yet 26 years old, but as soon they will be, and they will be out of high school and needing help. So I assume you're in touch with that division, but they do handle with very limited staff, with huge numbers of young people. And I think it would be great if you're in touch with them. Thank you very much. We will all be fighting for baseline. We don't want to call it anything else. We don't want $35 million, but it's not baseline. We want it baseline. So congratulations, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Brewer. That means a lot. And we would like to give a thank you to a representative from Councilmember Hank's office for joining us. Next up, we will hear from Deputy Public Advocate Nick Smith.
Hey, Cheyenne, thank you. That's what we should start. We should really thank, I mean, let's get real. There are 529 young people on this call and counting. And I will tell you, in my more than 10 years of engagement with the city stuff, I have never really seen the level of organizing that I've seen here. I remember Erica, Francois, and other folks at last year's press conference, and the 20 million that we got last year was phenomenal, but we're going much further. And let me frame this briefly in terms of public safety. I just came back from a press conference / vigil for the 2 police officers who lost their lives here in Harlem. And I've been engaged, with the Bronx fire and that sort of tragedy. And of course, the young woman who was gunned down at the Burger King here also in Harlem. And we talk so much about supporting young people and making sure that we have resources to support our young people. Well, let's stop talking the talk. Let's finally walk the walk. 20 million last year is great. 35 million baseline. And I seen the chat. I see you engaging. 35 million is the key. I recall being 14, 15, 16 and having people around me to help me see the world as it is and as it should be. And so I know when it comes to counseling and helping us resolve, if we have some conflicts, having folks who have some experience help us navigate those things, it's such an amazing program. So I'm excited to join this now 28 people on this call, plus millions of others. And one other thing, the city budget is about $100 billion. We all should be clear on that number. The city budget of New York is $100 billion. We're talking about $35 million, which is less than 0.1% of that budget, meaning it should not be a big deal to fund this program in full and baseline it, meaning, as the Councilmember Brewer said, that the money goes on in perpetuity. So to all of you, to the councilman, to the public advocates, colleagues, to the young people here with so much energy and passion, I know we're going to do it. I look forward to the press conference once the money's in the budget to celebrate and say to the city and all of our young people who are in foster care and aging out, we have your back. We will always have your back. Let's get the money in the budget. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. And we would also like to say thank you to Athena Moore, representing Borough President Mark Levine. That means a lot to us. And thank you for your kind words. Next up, we will have a young person, Danielle Davis from Forestdale. Danielle, are you there? Okay, then. Next, we will hear from Avery Brezen, a coach from Children's Village.
Hi, my name is Brazanne Avery, and I'm a youth coach at Children's Village, located at the Harlem building. And I was hired on January 2020. Therefore, when I was hired, as you can imagine, we were experiencing the new normal, as we like to call it sometimes. And it was difficult because I was new to the case and it was navigating something new. And most of my young people, they age from ranges 20 to 27 years old. And when I was hired, most of my caseload were employed. About 70% of them had jobs. And by the summer of 2020, the employment rate dropped to about 40%. So together, I worked alongside my young people to ensure that we applied for unemployment and search for jobs and make sure that they had jobs that didn't put them at risk of an exposure. We also ensured that they had access to mental health services and that they felt more because they felt more isolated from family and friends than they had before. Another helpful support during the pandemic was taking advantage of the new DMV appointment system. As we all are familiar, when you go to the DMV, you wait for a long time. And with the new system, you were able to make an appointment. So because of that, me and my young people were able to get them their New York State ID, their driver's license and permits, and we're currently working to get them their passports. It is important that Fair Futures get this funding at baseline. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, and now we will have Angel Villamel, a young person from Children's Village.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Angel Villamel. I'm 20 years old, and my agency is Children's Village. I stayed at Children's Village for a brief moment of time. And without coaches, there's a lot of things I would have never knew how to do or complete. And what I learned during this pandemic, like before I met Miss Avery, everything was like very overwhelming because I moved in February of 2021, a year after the pandemic. And it was so complicated because I was supposed to move in during the pandemic. So I had to wait a whole nother year. As far as Fair Futures, they give everybody, every kid like me who had no one to talk to, who lived alone, a voice and someone to actually hear. Miss Avery helped me apply to numerous facilities as far as physical therapy, mental health services. She helps me with anything that ranges from W-2s to helping file for taxes. A lot of stuff as when you first start independency is complicated and it's like you really don't know what to do. Financial hardships cause emotional distress for anyone. There's no age that can say you don't get stressed out from financial hardships. I feel like if you used to take away these young kids, like advocates / coaches, they're going to be even more lost than before. I just ask that I keep funding the program and helping kids like me across the whole.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Angel. That means a lot.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. We will now circle back to Danielle Davis, a young person from Forestdale.
Danielle's muted.
Danielle, you can unmute yourself. Is it possible? Can we just double check and make sure she's able to unmute herself?
Yeah, how you doing? Danielle is texting me now. She says she's not able to unmute herself. It's not letting her.
Okay. While we figure out how to get her to unmute herself, next up we will hear from Darielle Ramos, a coach from Heartshare St. Vincent Services.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darielle Ramos, and I'm here representing for Heartshare St. Vincent Services, and I'm a college coach. I support the young people that I work with within a myriad of ways, whether it be concerns about housing, school applications, meal plans, scholarships, financial aid, or just finding resources for strenuous situations. I do what I can with the young people that I work with. I think a goal that's consistent with all young people is helping them achieve to be more independent and to be confident in themselves. It's easy to teach someone to do good. It's a challenge to inspire someone to do better for themselves. While it's great that we help along the way, when I see that a young adult is striving to do better for themselves is when I feel the most proud about my position. Collectively, the world has suffered the great trauma through this pandemic. The umbrella of problems this brings just branches into different directions. For me, the best way I've been supporting students is to take time to just be as communicative as possible and to let them know that they can reach me anytime they need help with anything. I believe that more than ever, an open line of communication is as essential as it's ever been. With that being said, I believe more funding for the young adults will give them more opportunity to achieve their goals in life. While it's important and it's incredible that we have donors that are willing to help, having the city's support for our older population gives everyone the chance to succeed while they're in our care. I believe in this way that young adults will rest easier, knowing that they'll have more resources available to help them win in life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Darielle. And now we will have Elon Salallon, a young person from Heartshare St. Vincent's.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? My name is Elon Salallon. I'm 25 years old. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I've been affiliated with Heartshare St. Vincent since I was maybe 13 years old. Foster care has been life-changing for me. It's been very beneficial, from navigating financial aid for school to helping me acquire housing. That's how I'm living right now. Without foster care, I would not be I would not be where I am today. Darielle, he's my Fair Futures coach. He means a lot to me in a nutshell. He provides me with direction, reassurance in my next steps in approaching my schooling. I know Darielle will always steer me in the right direction when things get hectic and look out for my best interest. A challenge that Darielle has helped me overcome is staying focused on the task at hand and adjusting my focus primarily on my schoolwork. He's also encouraged me to brainstorm various career possibilities and opportunities. He's been especially important to me during the COVID-19 pandemic by always being resourceful and checking on my progress and my health. He makes sure that I have what I need to be in the best position to be successful every semester and handle everyday life issues. The main reason why I feel that young people affiliated with foster care must have access to Fair Future support is for the sole reason that these youth lack the proper resources and funding to be successful. I know because I was one of them. Like me, most of the kids affiliated with the foster care agency depend on these funds and resources to apply their excellence academically and in the workforce. With proper assistance from Fair Futures, it will enable every youth in foster care to reach their academic and life goals comfortably, relieving them from anxiety of not having the financial assistance for the proper resources. And just to add on to that, I have to say, personally, if it wasn't for Heartshare St. Vincent's, I wouldn't know where I would be, maybe jail, dead, and that's really the truth. I have no clue where I would be. They paved the way for success for me. Until this day, I'm on my senior year in college. And if it wasn't for them, I would have no support, period. Even at 25, I would still have besides my sister who adopted me, I would have zero support. But thank you, I appreciate it.
That was so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I would just like to circle back to Danielle Davis. Is it possible if you can raise your hand and we will definitely unmute you? Were we able to unmute her? Okay, then next up, we will have Amelia Ramirez, a coach from Sheltering Arms.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Amelia, and I've been working at Sheltering Arms now for 2 years. As a coach, I have supported my young people in every way possible. Most importantly, I have supported them in the way they feel they need to be supported. If a youth needs to get their state ID, I help schedule the appointments, escort them to the office. If a youth wants to join an extracurricular program at their school, and needs their vital documents, I'm there to help them obtain those documents. Sometimes the help come in different ways. They find their programs and we just help support that they actually enroll. I point them to the right resources, make the calls with them, and also follow up with the programs to make sure we tie up any loose ends. As a result of the pandemic, our kids are also experiencing more obstacles than before because they cannot do things outside the way we were able to before. As a coach, I supported them by escorting them to appointments, connecting them with tutors, taking them out on trips just to connect with nature, supporting them emotionally through challenging moments, and sending them care packages whenever possible. Support looks different for all my youth, and as a coach, I ensure to meet all their different needs. It is vital to maintain Fair Futures funding because the truth is that our young people need our support even more during adulthood. Adulthood is a time for youth that are still trying to figure themselves out while also taking on adult responsibilities, getting a job, talking about their careers, and thinking about moving out. Fair Futures ensures that our youth will have the support and build those lifelong connections with their coaches. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for that,
There
Amelia.
we go. Okay.
Next
Hello?
up, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Danielle.
Okay. Hello. My name is Danielle Davis. I reside in Brooklyn. I am 28 years of age and I am with Forrestal Inc. Life in foster care before I met my coach was hectic. I wish I could have done a lot of things differently. When you are young, you do not realize all the self-sabotage you're doing. I thought I knew everything and that no one could tell me anything. I put myself in situations I didn't have to put myself in. My coach name is Miss Alicia Burton. I never had anyone in my life who genuinely helped me with so many things. When I needed help or services, she got the job done. My coach take her time to help me. When I aged out of foster care, she said, Danielle, apply to this, apply to that. She helped me get jobs, food, and clothing. I would be so frustrated at times. And when I would call, she would console me and tell me that everything doesn't happen overnight. She helped me to manage and deal with my patients. She helped me by calling and checking in on me. She made sure I had masks, sanitizer, gloves, etc. The relationship I have with my coach is real. It is important for youth who age out of care to receive and continue services because I am more than grateful for Alicia. When in care, we have so much done for us. Once we age out, the world is real and we are on our own. Funding will help support adults like Miss Alicia or provide other specialists who can provide many services and one or the most important mental health resources. Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, I'm done, sorry.
no problem. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Deborah Kabori, a young person from Sheltering Arms speaking.
Hi, my name is Deborah Kabor, and I'm 20 years old, and I live in foster care. And the agency I'm in is Securing Arms in the Bonds. Before I met my Fair Future, life in foster care was not easy. I had to do everything by myself, and I didn't have anybody to guide me and teach me to be more responsible. My coach name is Amelia Ramos. She has been a solid support system for me. She's always here to listen to me. She helped me with anything I need. Amelia become more than a coach to me. She's like my friend now because every time I'm around her, like she make me feel really comfortable. My coach helped me through a lot. She helped me with school and my academic goals. She helped me get my state ID and learning permit. And we are working on getting my license, which I never thought it would be that easy because I'm an undocumented immigrant, but she really helped me and made me think like it's possible. She also gave me advice for my personal life, even my relationships. So I'm grateful. She's always motivating me to get everything I need, and I'm grateful. During the COVID pandemic, I was depressed and alone, but Amelia came into my life like an angel, and she gave me plans and like a gift, and she often come to my house to cake on me. She also do my makeup for my birthday as a birthday gift. And I think it's important. I think it's important for the New York City to baseline full funding for Fair Future in the city budget and ensure all young people in care have access to Fair Futures, because Fair Futures is doing fantastic work. They're helping young people like me to get themselves together and guiding us through everything we need. Because of them, many young people like me have accomplished many important things in our life, and we're still doing good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for being so vulnerable and sharing that with us. That means a lot. Next up, we will have Elijah Strauss, a coach from Graham Windham.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eli Strauss, and I'm the SLAM coach supervisor at Graham Windham. Before I was a coach supervisor, I was a coach for over 3 years. In addition to building a solid relationship with the young people I work with, I've also been able to support youth in care by accomplishing a variety of their educational and vocational goals. Some educational goals I've assisted with include transferring into a better fit high school and GED TAP program, graduating high school and obtaining a high school equivalency, enrolling into college, and graduating college. Some work-related goals I've assisted with include providing resume feedback, conducting mock job interviews, and connecting youth to job opportunities. Based on their current situation, I helped my youth figure out how to schedule their college classes to ensure that they had enough credits to graduate by their desired time frame. I've also guided them in professionally following up with an employer to see if they received the job offer. During the pandemic, I've also supported youth emotionally, academically, financially, and by connecting them to resources based on their needs. If they needed counseling, I would see if they wanted to talk with me and/or provide them with a connection if they wanted to speak with an outside counselor. I checked in to see how their classes were going, asked them if they needed support, and created a plan for receiving that support. Finally, if there were any grants, aid, or other financial opportunities that they were eligible for, I would send it their way. Everyone needs moral, financial, and professional support. However, not everyone has the same access to it. Suppose New York City baselines full funding for Fair Futures in the city budget and ensures all young people in care and those aged out up to 26. In that case, more youth, like you've heard today and will hear for the rest of the day, will be able to work longer with their coach to continue to receive support and guidance as they get closer to their goals and transition towards their adulthood. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Eli. Lastly, we will have Diana Russell, a young person from Graham Windham. Are you there, Diana?
She said she can't unmute herself.
Okay.
Eli, what's her name?
It's Diana.
But what on her screen?
Just Diana.
She wrote in the chat. Okay, Diana, you should be able to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. Hi everyone. All right. So my name is Diana Russell. I'm currently 25, residing in the Bronx, and I'm a participant with the SLAM team here at Grant Windham. Fortunately, I was out of foster care when I started receiving the coaching services here at SLAM. I was actually in my sophomore year of college when I first started. But it was a big difference for me. I still got to have support in ways I've never experienced before. With SLAM, I got access to tutoring and financial advisement. They supported me in school, helping to pay for my books and other fees that came with college. They even got support unrelated to school with their assistance in obtaining our permits and our driver's license. It was very nice. During the COVID-19 pandemic, SLAM has shown up and shown out in several ways. They have dropped by food and produce to my house. They gifted me with a laptop so that the shift to virtual learning was more effortless. They have been there to listen to our stories, to listen to us and our problems in non-judgmental ways. They helped me get further in life. They have successfully helped me to obtain scholarships, college scholarships. My last year of college, when I had just lost my mother to COVID and my financial aid wouldn't cover all of my school tuition, I had felt lost, and my SLAM coach helped me a lot. They comforted me, they allowed me to vent, and they put me into contact with people inside this organization that can help me. They successfully helped me get a $5,000 scholarship so that they can cover a lot of the things that I wasn't able to pay for during my last year of college, so it was very nice. When I finished college, and I still needed help, they helped me. They sent me job openings. They connected me to a job coordinator who helped on my resume and helped me get a job. I feel accomplished, and I have accomplished a lot because of the resources that SLAM has gifted me and because of their excellent support system. I can honestly say without SLAM, I don't know where I would be. Like, I don't think I would be in the same predicament that I'm in now.
Thank you so much, Diana. All of you and all of the other speakers' story touched me, and it is incredible. Next up, we will have Marcus from the Youth Advocacy Board speaking. Marcus, are you able to unmute yourself?
Unmute. Yeah, hey, hello everyone. Yeah, sorry about that. I was like, I can't unmute. I don't know how to discuss. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see a lot of people today. So today I'm going to talk about my housing challenges and what me and my coach been do for the last 2 months since I've known her. She's also here on the call as well. So shout out to Miss Beverly. Hi, Miss Beverly. So the last couple of months, I've been going through a lot of I've been through homelessness. I've been looking for my apartment. You know, I had a couple of my colleagues letting me stay in, you know, their apartments, or I've been in Airbnbs or some hotels, you know. So I really do appreciate a lot of support that I've been getting. But you know, before I met my coach, you know, I was struggling and I was going through a lot of overwhelming problems because my foster care agency did not want to support me. They did not want to advocate for me. They wanted just to pretty much me to lose out on a semester because they didn't want to do their jobs. And you know, if I had the support of my coach, you know, before she came along, if I did have a Fair Futures coach at the time, I think I would have had less drama and less things that could weigh on me. And I could have actually been graduating this year in the spring. You know, now I have to wait until fall of this year to graduate. And honestly, it's not fair for me, but you know, these are the challenges that me as a young foster care youth or young adult, so to speak, has to go through, you know. I was just having this conversation with my coach earlier today, actually, about that. I'm still going through my challenges because right now, the Hearts for Homes application, I had to put it in, but my worker didn't want to help me or help me submit the application to the organization. So I had to, you know, use my other resources and ask them hey, I filled out my application. Can I go to your office and you can fax it, fax it to me, and I can just send it to my workers, you know? It's been a lot of challenges that I've been through. The good news is that after all these challenges, even though I am still going through more housing problems because of my workers, you know, I just got my apartment last week on Wednesday. So yay. But the thing that sucks is that, you know, I'm still suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'm really trying my best not to cry. Cause you know, I've been through a lot in the last 25 years of being in foster care. You know, I've been in care since diapers, you know, and I really don't have support like that. And, my workers always put me through through the hoops because, you know, they don't like to do their job, or I'm the one that has to yell, scream, and really advocate for myself. And it makes us look bad at foster care youth. I feel like Fair Futures is an organization that does help us, like with our coaches, make sure that we do have a better, successful future than what we've been through, in our lives. And, it's very hard. Like my coach, she's really helped me for the last 2 months, making sure that I'm okay mentally, physically, emotionally. And recently I also had COVID again, the second time, but it was really worse. And my coach and my best friend, she was very supportive towards me, and making sure that I'm all right. And it wasn't fun, and my workers just did not care. They made me suffer more, even when I did have COVID, and it's ridiculous that I have to go through this situation, like I feel like by myself all the time. Even though I do have a Fair Futures coach, the support that I get is very amazing. The support that I got, the struggles that I still got to go through with my agency, it's just terrible. But that's all I got to say.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable, Marcus. That speaks volumes on what youth in foster care have to go through, but how a coach can help us at the end of the day. Next up, we will have one second. Next up, we will have Alicia. She is a coach from Forestdale.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to thank you all for this opportunity to be able to advocate for the youth out here in foster care and be there for them. You all are walking testimony, and there is someone out there, when they hear your story, they can relate. So thank you all. My name is Alicia Barton, and I am the First Life Coach at Forestdale, Inc., a child welfare agency headquartered in Queens. Our mission is to ensure that children and families have the fundamental assets needed to thrive and live independently. I have been a coach at this agency for 5 years, and many young people I work with have had experiences that leave them without trust for adults or with challenges in forming healthy relationships. With my care, I have found that over time, they begin to rebuild a sense of hope and develop those necessary healthy relationships. I am someone who goes above and beyond for my youth. My team affectionately calls me the MVP of Strong Futures because I get results. I can identify my youth's needs and locate services, resources to meet those needs. I make myself available to talk even after hours, after 7 p.m., even after midnight. I have youth reaching out to me who want to talk and vent. And I am open to being that ear to listen and give my feedback on the situation they're calling out to. As they worry about the future, I support my youth by sharing the experiences of others who have overcome challenges to show them they can do it. One youth in particular that I have worked with for 5 years wanted to give up on life after discovering she had cancer and that her leg needs to be amputated. I supported this youth by calling her every day. I also accompanied her to the doctor's appointments, chemotherapy, and other community outings. I was the first to speak with her before surgery and visited her following surgery. I also assisted her in locating appropriate housing after her current situation was no longer suitable after her amputation. All of this was during the height of COVID, when hospitals had a limit on visitors. I was the individual listed as the approved visitor for the youth. The length of my commitment to this youth has not ended, as I am still assisting her with ordinary independent living skills. Although there's a CDC guideline and there is not much face-to-face and or group activities and trips, I try to continue meeting with them and talking about the goals they have in life and the steps to complete them. I ask my youth how I can support them mentally, physically, and socially during this time and provide them with any additional resources they might need. It is essential for youth to have access to coaches to connect to a caring adult. Many youth are out of care, and there is no one there for them. They need access to services like mental health, housing, and other independent living skills. A lot of the youth have their agency as their support system. Now they have aged out and are on their own. They sometimes feel lost and hopeless. Little things that we might take for granted are sometimes not that easy for them, like food shopping on a budget, cooking healthy meals, holding a conversation with someone during an interview for a job, or even filling out a job application. When youth age out of care, Fair Futures funding should be that assurance that they still have someone there when support is needed, said Alicia Barton, Fair Futures coach, Forestdale Inc.
That was amazing, Alicia. I saw many times in the chat that you are an MVP, and I fully agree with that. So many of our coaches are a light to youth's life. I have told my coach so many stories about my life and things that I was struggling with when it comes to a new job, when it comes, just like you said, to grocery shopping. I don't even know which is the right potatoes to pick out and which is the correct like tomatoes to pick out. And I've seen my coach cry and hurt from my hurt. And that is an experience you only get to get when somebody really and truly loves you, and most youth don't have that. So I think it's really amazing the work that you and other coaches are doing, and it is fully appreciated by all the youth that you're helping. So thank you for all of our speakers today and all of our city council members and everybody who was able to join us today. I want to tell our local leaders and our mayor that New York City cannot let our young people fall through the cracks. Our city needs fair futures. And I would like to close it out by saying thank you for everyone who coordinated this, everybody who showed up, everybody who advocated, spoke. It was very powerful. And even though it wasn't together on the steps of City Hall, it was still very powerful and amazing. You all are doing amazing work. Thank you. And please remember to follow the Fair Futures page on Twitter and the Fair Futures Youth Advocacy Board at Fair Futures YAB. Thank you everyone for coming out. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Go Fair Futures.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Have a good one.
Hey.
Thank you.
Go
Go
Fair
Fair Futures.
Futures.
Fair Futures.
Bravo, everyone.
Thank you. Awesome presentation.
Thank you all.
Yes, Fuentes, right?
Good job, Sharon.
Thank you, guys.
Fuentes.
Great job, everyone. Thank you again.
Hey.
Great job, Cheyenne and everyone. Bye.
Great job. Thank you.